college games have been some of the most popular releases of the past 3 years. This includes the 2020 Game of the Year, as well as the 2022 Game of the Year. We seem to have reached peak college in a way very similar to how Honey Pop's breakout success gave us a wave of puzzle games. But that doesn't mean that there aren't still going to be great games to explore with the college flavor. As always, all links can be found for free on my Patreon, because YouTube hates college games almost as much as Steam hates games with high schools. First up, we have the Adult Game of the Year for 2022, Fresh Women. The Season 1 release on Steam contained Episodes 1 through 5. Season 2's development is ongoing, and Episode 2 recently released on their Patreon. At this current pace of development, it is unlikely that Season 2 will finish before 2025. But I still hope we will see something released on Steam sometime next year. Until then, feel free to check out my review. Fresh Women Season 1 is available for PC, SteamOS, and Linux on Steam, with Mac and Android versions available on itch.io and their Patreon. Next up, we have the College Kings series, with College Kings 2 Episode 3 Back to Basics being the latest addition to the franchise. This was one of the top games of 2021 on Steam, but there were some serious hiccups with the releases in 2022, and the developer, Undergrad Steve, has spent the greater portion of the last year reworking the game and its content. Will College Kings return to its previous highs, or is this just another sign that the industry is waning from peak college? Only time will tell. College Kings 2 Episode 3 Back to Basics is available for PC, Mac, SteamOS, and Linux on Steam, with an Android version available on their Patreon. Another popular game on Steam from 2021 is College Bound. This series completed this year with the release of Episode 5. I don't want to spoil anything, but the ending was both equal parts surprising and ridiculous. Though after rewatching my original review, I'm really not sure what else I should have expected. For fans of this franchise, developer Foz is already at work on their new series, Baddies Inc. College Bound Episode 5 is available for PC, Mac, SteamOS, and Linux on Steam and their Patreon. One of the top Steam games of 2022, Quickie, A Love Hotel Story, has had a ton of new content added since I reviewed it a year and a half ago, and I will be revisiting this hotel management game later this week. Quickie, A Love Hotel Story is available for PC and Mac on Steam, with Linux and Android versions on itch.io and their Patreon. Lust Theory Season 2 came out this year to help give us the answers to many of Season 1's questions. Let's just say that the ending is very controversial. I thought about reviewing this one like I did for Season 1 last year, but I just can't say anything that won't spoil the experience for those of you interested in playing. Lust Theory Season 2 is available for PC, Mac, SteamOS, and Linux on Steam, Patreon, and itch.io. Lust Academy Season 2 had a rocky launch compared to Season 1. However, developer Bear in the Night has added a bunch of changes to the writing, the story, and some of the gameplay mechanics. I know I said something similar about College Kings, but that is part of the reason I wonder if the decline in these games' successes are part of a greater drop in the popularity of college games as a whole. Fortunately, development for Season 3 is already underway if you want to check it out on their Patreon. Lust Academy Season 2 is available for PC, Mac, SteamOS, and Linux on Steam, with an Android port on their Patreon and itch.io. Our next game, College Craze, is the only title on this list that I haven't covered before. This female protagonist coming-of-age story gives you a wide variety of character customization, as well as more than 24 love interests to pursue. While there is still a long way to go in this early access release from 2022, the game is free to play on Steam if you want to check it out. College Craze is available for PC, Mac, SteamOS, and Linux on Steam, with an Android port on their Patreon and itch.io. I covered our next title, MILFs of Sunville, a couple months ago, and I talked about both Season 1 as well as this year's early access release of Season 2. I do owe the developers an apology for complaining about the limited number of MILFs in this game. After having played Milfy City and experiencing its total absence of any and all MILFs in the official version, the 3 MILFs of Sunville seem so much more MILFy-licious by comparison. MILFs of Sunville Season 2 is available for PC and Mac on Steam and their Patreon, with a playable version in browser on itch.io. Speaking of Milfy City, I had such high expectations going into my review earlier this week. This is one of the most popular Patreons of the last 5 years, and there are so many people who love this game and this developer. Did it live up to the hype? Spoilers, it did not. Check out my full review if you want to know more. Movie City is available for PC and Mac on Steam and their Patreon. And finally, we have the conclusion to the Fetish Locator series with Fetish Locator Week 3. I covered this epic college flavor frenzy back in May, and the response to Week 3 has been decent. So while the college genre may be on the decline, you can still find games that are absolutely worth checking out. I do find it interesting that the developer has changed the title of the upcoming prequel from Vi Novello University to Taboo University. Hopefully this one won't be so taboo that it gets banned by Steam. But then I am covering the list of games banned by Steam this year, later this month. Fetish Locator Week 3 is available for PC, Mac, SteamOS, and Linux on Steam and itch.io, with an Android version available on their Patreon. There you have it. Where do you think the college genre is heading? Have we reached the peak? Is this decline temporary? I can't wait to hear what you have to say. But Annie, what about being a dick? Don't worry, I'll be talking about that in depth next month. Until next time, no shaming, just gaming. Thanks to all this month's support on Patreon. I wouldn't have been able to do this without you all.